Hello everyone and welcome to the second edition of Law of Attraction podcast. Let me introduce myself if you don't know me already. I'm Laura and I'm the founder of Law of Attraction Life Coaching. I specialise in coaching people to become happier, healthier and more positive using life coaching, law of attraction and counselling techniques. The podcasts that you are listening to aim to discuss techniques that you can use in your life, as well as discussing motivation ideas to help you to become your best self. Now, I've learned some hard lessons along the way, and after time and time again of messing my life up by choosing the easy road, some words came to me and they have rung in my ears constantly, and now they've kind of become a motto for life, and that is that instant gratification is genuinely the road to hell. Now, you may wonder what I mean by that, so let me give you a few examples. So, James is suffering from terrible headaches. He takes a few paracetamol to begin with. These take away the pain and he feels much better. But after a while, the pain gets worse, and instead of seeing his doctor, he starts taking codeine to forget the pain, which works out fine. He continues upping and upping the dose until he's taking an obscene amount of painkillers to cope with the headaches. Now, it turns out that James had a brain tumour, but by the time he'd actually gone to see the doctor about it, it was all too late to do anything about it. What about Lisa, who was abused as a child? Now, she couldn't face her history, so she started drinking to numb the pain and forget the memories. Soon the alcohol stopped doing the job, and so Lisa began to take harder drugs. And she just ended up in a downward spiral until she was a full-blown drug addict. Now, these are tough stories, and I bet you're sitting there practically ready to leave, shut the laptop down and go and do something cheerful, right? But stick with me, I have a point, I promise. What are the two common denominators of these stories? Fear and pain. Now, fear is a huge issue for us humans. It pushes us to act irrationally and often to avoid that which we truly desire due to a fear of change or failure, or sometimes even just getting what we want. The other common factor of these stories is pain. Humans are hardwired to avoid pain, but often in avoiding one pain, we do not realise that we're actually accepting a much worse fate further down the road. And that is the point. Instant gratification is the road to hell. What I mean by that is by seeking out the easy option, the pain eradicating option, the option that works just for the minute, often leads to a life much more painful, much harder, and much more difficult than one if you had just faced the original issue in the first place. Now, last week I gave you the acronym for fear, which was false events appearing real. And when you're frightened of something, your brain goes into overdrive. It tells you all of the worst situations which could become reality for you. This dystopian future is enough for anyone to run and hide their heads in a pile of denial, which is what a lot of us do these days. We live in a world filled with addicts of some form or another, whether it be the mother who needs gin after the kids have gone to bed so she can wind down, or the blue collar who's snorting coke till blackout at the weekend to forget the week, or possibly a teenager who's eating themselves to diabetes in some attempt to fill the void. From alcohol, food, drugs, sex, and even exercise, people can be seen across society practicing their avoidance behaviours. And what are they avoiding? Pain that their fear has told them is inevitable. So these people do not face their issues or make an attempt to rectify the situation that causes them the pain. They simply do all in their power to hush the voice of fear that whispers to them day in, day out that everything is going to go wrong. Fear is so powerful that it can push a person into making the worst decisions for themselves. Instead of seeking relaxation techniques after a hard day, they reach for the wine. Instead of facing health issues, the person makes pretends and eats painkillers. Instead of counselling, they self-medicate with drugs. You might think this all sounds a little desperate and negative, but it is a truth for all in some way or another. Instead of facing the original issue, we seek comfort from an instant gratification and make ourselves a long and very painful road. painful, and completely pointless. When you do not face that which you wish to avoid, or alternatively, that which you fear, you enter into a cycle of denial. You either must continue your avoidance behaviours or face your pain. And why is it the road to hell? Well, because instant gratification offers you an addictive, short-term, and seemingly better solution for you to sell your soul to. Why work hard when you can just cease the fear and pain right now with a little help from, insert your chosen avoidance technique here. But the thing is, it never lasts. And the thing that you are avoiding will always be there, haunting you in the background, whispering in your ear and threatening to give you pain and make you fearful. So if you've stuck with me this far, and I thank you if you have, I think that you can work out from all this is that instant gratification really doesn't work. It's the fad diet for your fat ass, the payday loan to pay off your credit card, the one-night stand for your lower self-esteem. It remedies the situation for a moment, and then once that cessation of worries ends, there you are, left in a bigger mess than you were in before. Now, I have lived this over and over in many manifestations. I've been pretty messed up in my life at points, and this is why I am able to give you the great advice that I give you now. Now, what would have made it less painful would have been me facing my fears, accepting the pain as part of my healing, and looking my demons square in the eye instead of letting them chase me into some of the darkest pits in my life. It's so easy to practice these avoidance behaviours, so the only thing you can do is keep checking in on the reasons for why you are doing the things you're doing in your life. If you're doing something that you know isn't healthy or helpful to yourself as an avoidance technique, I recommend you work out what it is you're avoiding and face it, no matter how hard you think it may be. Because after doing it time and time again, I can promise you the mess you get yourself into avoiding your issues is much harder, more painful, and a lot worse than if you'd just taken life by the balls and sorted it out in the first place. I've learnt this lesson the hard way, and so many times now that I actively go out of my way to do things that scare the hell out of me. Like, for instance, this. Writing my words down, sharing my feelings with you is an option for rejection by all. But this isn't something I'd normally seek out. I'm hoping that I've walked this painful path that you don't have to. And I refuse now not to do things because I'm frightened of them anymore. The realizations that I'm fearful and I'm fearful from something that's not real actually make me feel very powerful. And no longer am I reacting from a fear avoidance response. I'm doing things because I want to. I face life's trials and tribulations head on. Now, it's not always easy or fun, and often I feel like I'd rather drown my sorrows than work through them. But you can't spend life running from yourself. Just hash it out, make peace with it, so that your future is a better one. I avoid instant gratification because if you didn't know, it's the road to hell. Thank you ever so much for listening again to tonight's podcast. If you are interested, you can find out plenty more information in the links below. You can get access to my webpage, my Facebook page, Instagram. I really hope to see you next week. Please leave a comment, please like, share, subscribe, and so forth. Have a fabulous Christmas if you're listening at the time that this was recorded, and I'll see you in the new year. Take care of yourselves. Good night.